Hello everyone. Today we will talk about the 12 houses on the astrological chart. So let's start with the first house. Obviously, the first house is basically yourself, anything to do with you in that sense. So if and that's where you can easily make a few predictions about their personality. For example, if they've got Saturn sitting in the first house, you can easily say, well, that person will not tolerate any injustice happening around them because Saturn is a planet of justice. Secondly, I mean, even to an extent, you can say that they might be a bit, perfectionist in that sense because Saturn is a slow moving planet and it likes to do, every whatever karam you do, you will get the results of it. Like it likes that sort of a thing as well. So, and for example, if you got Ketu in the first house, you can say he or she would have good intuition. So, basically, the first house is your personality. Now, there's a concept called Bhavat Bhavam, which means how the houses relate with other houses in that sense. So, from that, we will even try and see what the first house represents. So, the first house is basically the loss of your family or loss of your wealth as well to an extent. It would then even mean the gains or like the income or the desires of your younger sibling. And obviously, look, their chart is more important to predict stuff like that, but it does give a bit of a background from your chart too. Then what else is the first house? It's the career or the status or the fame of your mother. It's also I guess the destiny or the religious beliefs of your first child. So, and what I'm doing here, and we'll learn that as we go along, but first house is basically ninth from the fifth house. Fifth house is your first child, ninth is basically destiny. So that's the Bhavat Bhavam concept, that if it goes ninth from your fifth house, then that kind of shows the destiny of or the religious beliefs of your first child. So that's what I'm doing here. Then first house is also eighth from the sixth house, which means it's basically the death of your enemies in that sense, or the completion of your debts, any loans you have or anything, for example. It even means the completion of any health problems you have in that sense. So that is also what the first house can show. Then, like, look, if you have a health problems, I probably would start with the sixth house because that's what the sixth house actually shows. But you can always include this Bhavat Bhavam concept in all the predictions that you make as well, because when you're in astrology, you can't just make a prediction based on one thing that you see in the chart. You need to see that in at least probably 3 other places before you can actually say that that prediction might come true or not. So that's that. Then we'll ignore seventh from for now, because seventh from seventh is basically your spouse's spouse, which is yourself again. So we'll ignore that. Sixth from the eighth house, so that could mean your in-laws. So the eighth house is your in-laws, for example. So it could even mean the debt or the enemies or the health issues of your in-laws, for example. It's fifth from ninth, which means and again, see, why it's so freaky is because fifth from ninth, so it's your dad's first child, which could be you in that sense. So and again, first house is anyway you. So that's how it's so all interconnected. Even the Bhavat Bhavam concept is so interconnected with the first house in that sense. So yeah, that's that. It could even mean any so fifth house is entertainment. It's even past life skills of yourself. So yeah, your first house could even probably say your dad's past life skills, for that matter. What else? It's the comfort of your career. This is it's fourth from the 10th house. Is the comfort of your career, the comfort of your bosses, I guess, as well. It's third from the 11th house, which means it's your elder elder siblings, hard work or efforts, that could also be shown from your first house. It's also wealth from international places, or wealth from spiritual, or sorry, not wealth, but like gains from spiritual practices. So yeah, all of that is basically your first house. First house is actually one of the easier ones, you can say, because it's more to do with just yourself and your personality. Whereas the second house, it's, family, wealth, your speech, and much more. And we'll get to the second house, but yeah, it's much more like all the other houses actually have probably 15 or 20 things that you can look at in that particular house. Like they'll have 3 or 4 main things, but you can look at quite a few other things as well from that. But the first house is pretty easy in that sense, that it's just you yourself. So yeah, that's that. Obviously, as we go along, we will learn about if there's a particular Rashi in that house, what would that represent? And that's what making this course very structured. Like, I want you to follow everything from the start and just learn the basics first before we go into the complex stuff. So if you have, a Leo ascendant, that could show leadership qualities as well. So an ascendant is basically the first house. Lagna is basically the first house. Sorry if I didn't mention that earlier, but I'm using these words, so I'm just, yeah. But yeah, I want to make it as structured as possible. So I will, go very slow. In the next video, I'll basically talk about the second house and then the third house and so on. And then we'll talk about, as I said, the 9 planets and then the 12 Rashis. And then we will go on to the more complex stuff. Like, this is very important to understand first. So yeah, that's that. I will see you in the next video.